These are historical facts, publicly available and well known. But let me also remind you of another important historical date, April 19th. Today we will return to it twice. We are talking about April 19th, which according to the old style is April 8, 1783, when Catherine the Great signed the Supreme Manifesto on the acceptance of the Crimean Peninsula, the island of Taman, and the entire Kuban side under the Russian Empire. The manifesto became the logical result of our country's centuries-long struggle for the return of primordially Russian lands, ensured the security of its borders, and consolidated the legitimate entry of the Crimean Peninsula and other lands into Russia. In accordance with Federal Law No. 336-FZ of August 3, 2018, this day has been declared a memorable date in our history. With the arrival of the Russian administration, profound transformations began in Crimea. It was finally brought to an end. I'm referring to the historical period I mentioned at the beginning. The slave trade was finally abolished. A system of state administration was formed. The fortress of Sevastopol, the future base of the Black Sea Fleet, was laid, and of course the city of Simferopol, the administrative center of the Taurida Governorate at that time, was founded. The annexation of Crimea to Russia gave a powerful impetus. I emphasize once again, we are talking about that historical period, to the development of the entire region. The economy, trade, and culture grew rapidly, and the development of vast fertile lands began. In the shortest possible time, new cities and ports emerged in the Black Sea steppe, and the Russian fleet firmly established itself on the Black Sea, ensuring the security of the southern borders and opening new opportunities for the development of our country. How do the words about the safety of navigation, which our country ensures, sound to you now? Yes, these expressions have taken on new colors, taking into account modern geopolitical realities. They must be appreciated. I will remind you of a few facts in the context of this historical date. The city of Zaporozhye was founded by the Russian Empire in 1770. Kherson was founded by the Russian Empire in 1778. And Mariupol was also founded, I'm not afraid to repeat, by the Russian Empire in 1778. I draw your attention to the fact that neo-Ukrainian pseudo-historians should know this when they are canceling or rewriting something there. No, indeed. The city of Dnepropetrovsk was founded in 1776, Krivoy Rog in 1775, Nikolaev in 1789, and Odessa. Today we will talk about the madness taking place there. Odessa in 1794. Does anything else need to be commented on? Here it is, the history of these cities, of this land. No, it is not being written now as if for the first time. Nothing of the sort. All of this has its own historical roots. At the same time, it is important to remember that the entry of Crimea into the Russian Empire under Catherine the Great had even deeper historical roots. After all, in the second half of the 10th century, the eastern part of the peninsula became part of the Principality of Tmutarakan, thus becoming part of ancient Rus. Ties were strengthened after the successful campaign of Grand Duke Vladimir Sviatoslavovich in 988 against the Byzantine city of Kherson, Tarik Chersonesos. It was there that he accepted baptism, determining the historical path of our fatherland. A few centuries later, in 1783, Crimea became part of the Russian Empire. And in 2014, following the results of an all-Crimean referendum, I emphasize exemplary by all international standards and a model of democratic expression of will. It returned to its home harbor. Its results are known to the whole world, even to those who persistently, one is tempted to say, persistently, stubbornly as well. Well, let's stick with persistently. Those who try not to notice the obvious. 96.7% of voters in Crimea and 95.6% in Sevastopol voted for reunification with their historical motherland. These are not just figures. This is truly the voice of the people. It was heard and supported by Russia. Since then, Crimea has forever become an integral part of the Russian Federation. Over the past 12 years, the peninsula has truly been transformed. No, it is not a matter of the people, whom someone, God forbid, of course, might say, supposedly, did nothing there. They did everything in their power. They were simply not allowed to realize their love for their land. Now, however, they have this opportunity. The infrastructure has been radically renewed, large-scale projects have been implemented, and the Crimean Bridge has been opened. Well, you know, the very same one that supposedly could not exist. And from the perspective of those whether journalists or historians or observers, it supposedly does not exist. The problem of energy supply has been solved, and new tourism facilities have been built. Yes, Crimea, in fact, having returned to its home harbor, reclaimed its truly national title as a fantastic tourist center. And today, Crimea is not just a beautiful corner of the planet, but a dynamically developing region. A dynamically developing region of Russia. Summing up, I would like to note that the return of the peninsula became a logical continuation of the shared historical path of Crimea and Russia. A long, difficult, truly God-blessed path. And we walk together.